If you're running paid advertising for your med spa or clinic and it's not getting the results that you need, it's probably down to these 4 mistakes that we see again and again clinics and med spas making when trying to attract new clients and patients into their business. I'm Richard Gibbons, founder at Boost My Customers. We are a specialist marketing and training company working exclusively with med spas and clinics across the world, helping them to attract their dream clients without needing to discount, and at the same time positioning them as that premium authority in their area. So we're going to dive into my computer now. We're going to walk you through these 4 mistakes we see again and again. And if you are making them, how we can actually overcome them and improve our marketing to make sure we're getting a good return on investment. So let's jump into my computer now. So when it comes to marketing, most med spas and clinics are doing pretty well, but you're wanting to obviously take your business to that next level. Now, there's loads of discount platforms out there like Groupon. There's way more competition. It seems like everyone is opening up a clinic or med spa in the area. And it's figuring out how we can stand out in the competition without needing to go into that commodity race where you're discounting. And that, say, a clinic down the road does a hydrofacial and they're doing it for £99, and you're like, oh gosh, we've either got to match that or we've got to do it cheaper or we have to chuck some freebies in. And it's a race to the bottom. So competition is getting more and more every day, which shows there's a demand in the area. We see competition as a good thing. It's just how can we position ourselves a bit better that even if we are more expensive, even if we are more premium, people are wanting to visit us compared to Susie's Med Spa down the road because they see the value you're providing. And it's all about becoming a value-based clinic rather than a commodity-based clinic, which I've discussed in another video. But the top clinic owners are really knowing how to use this competition, this marketing to their advantage. And as more clients are turning to the internet, guess where they're marketing? You've got to get in front of your dream clients and patients. Think about your demographic, who you've got, who you want to attract. So we say to all of our clinics, look at your database, segment the top 20% of spenders, like your best ever patients. Look at their demographics and see where do they spend their time. Is it in-person clubs? Is it Pilates clubs? Is there any online forums? Really dive deep into that. And then we want to position our messaging to go onto the platforms they are on so we can attract more people like them. So you may have tried advertising before, you may have tried Meta, Google, TikTok, YouTube, whatever the case is, or you could be a complete newbie, not necessarily a newbie in the aesthetic business or med spa business, but a newbie to the online world. This video is perfect for you. The reason being is I always talk about marketing is all about the fundamentals. So Google could change tomorrow their algorithm, Facebook could change their algorithm, but actually the fundamentals of marketing stay the same. And we work with clinics all over the world. The reason someone wants a hydrofacial is pretty much the same no matter where they are in the world. The only thing we have to change is obviously the wording, the language, and making sure your demographic understand and you're obviously reaching their pain points. But marketing is all about the fundamentals. Don't get confused with the latest AI or these fancy trends before you've got your foundation sorted. This will be the best way, and the possibilities are endless. So it's really cool. One of the biggest things we see is clinic or med spas pressing that boost button. So if you're running Facebook or Instagram ads, there's that little blue button, or whatever color it is, they always seem to change it, the boost button, which you click and it says, do you want to reach 10,000 people today? And the problem with this is the idea behind it is to reach more people, which sounds like a good plan. However, we see it's one of the quickest ways to waste your advertising budget. Because the main thing is, your goal typically isn't to reach more people, it's actually converting people into paying clients is the end goal. So before you spend any money on advertising, think, what is my goal? Like, why am I spending this money? Is it awareness? Is it to build my brand? Is it to attract patients? It could be all of these different things. But we want to think, why are we doing this? And typically with our clinics, we'd rather reach only 100 people and actually generate £3,000 in sales than reaching, say, 2,500 people and generating £100 in sales. So it's thinking, what are the key metrics that I'm tracking, which will say this advertising campaign is a success? Have a look at that, and that will guide everything else that you do. So typically when you're boosting posts, they do change it, but they can tell you who you want to reach, so your target audience, the budget you want to do, and how long you want your advertising to last. And the reason we're not the biggest fan of the boost button or the boost thing in general is the options are limited. So if you want to get those high-end clients, this button isn't really going to help you get to that goal. If it does help you, it's going to take 10 times longer, it's going to be way more expensive, and it's just a more trickier path to get. Whereas there's a simpler way where we can cut through the noise, spend less on ads, but actually get better results. And the solution to this is to load up Meta Ads Manager inside of Facebook. So Facebook Meta, same thing. The reason being is this tool allows you to set up adverts that are tailored towards high quality leads. But again, not even leads, it's going to be about new patients coming through. Patients. Oh, let's get that right today. There we go. So the benefits of Ad Manager is it allows you to implement more detailed targeting, customer demographics. We can even do split tests to find the correct ads. So a really good thing about marketing is we can launch different variations. So say we have 2 different adverts. One could be an image, one could be a video. We put 50% of our budget to the image, 50% of our budget to the video. We can see which one's performing best, and say the video is not doing great. We can turn off the advert, put the remaining budget back into that image advert, and we've got a high performing advert that's optimized to perform. Whereas if you're just doing the boost button and you just boost that one video to begin with, we could say, oh great, we put money behind this, but this is not working. Our Facebook ads or Meta ads aren't working for me. Because you didn't do a split test, you didn't give Facebook enough variables to test and play around with to see what your demographic actually relate to. So split testing is a secret key to success of marketing. And obviously you can choose what different placements you have as well. And I will do a separate video on this. But typically when you're running boosting, they do auto placements, which means they're going to spread your advert across 15 to 20 different placements on Meta, on Facebook and Instagram. Whereas only about 20% of those placements are actually effective, which means you're spreading your money way too thinly, which means you're not getting the maximum results and it's not optimal for your marketing. So with this tool, you can accurately track your adverts, ensure the money you're spending is being put to use. And typically when we're working with clinics, if they've been doing boosting before and they switch to Ads Manager, it reduces their cost per lead by over 50%. But not even cost per lead. We've got cost per lead, cost per consultation, which is more important, and then cost per treatment plan going ahead. And all of these reduce where the conversion rate actually increases. So it's really, really effective and I absolutely love it. The second thing we see is no clear offer. So when we're running anything on social media, as you know, people's attention span isn't the greatest these days. It's going down. It seems every single year, the attention spans is getting worse and worse. We have around 1.7 seconds to capture their attention. We say to our clinics, imagine someone sitting on the toilet, which isn't the most pretty thought. But how are we going to get their attention when their dog's running away, their kids are screaming, they're on the toilet? How can we get them to stop what's going on in the outside world and focus on their phone to be like, oh, this looks really good? This comes down to an offer. And we regularly see clinics advertising online with no clear offer. And it's hard to understand what that clinic's offering. So it could be a background about the clinician or the nurse or the doctor, and it's talking about their expertise, or we've been open for 20 years at our clinic, blah, blah, blah. But actually, that's not going to get someone to stop and be like, whoa, I want to focus my attention on this specific advert. So with Facebook, with Instagram, with Google, we want to make sure our offer is extremely clear and easy to understand. Now, when I say offer, you could be something like, oh my goodness, what's happening? We don't want to do offers with discount. An offer doesn't have to be a discount. That's a big misconception. An offer is just packaging what you have in your clinic or your med spa in a way that's attractive to that potential client or that potential patient. So it could be value stacking, putting different treatments together, and that can be your offer. So just to note, when I say offer, it doesn't have to be discount. And honestly, we advise against doing discounts anyway for the majority of clinics. The best solution then for doing this and getting people's attention is to sell the sizzle, not the steak. So it's actually talking about selling that transformation rather than the treatment. So we don't want to know about, great, this laser is IPL, it's got 3 different wavelengths, it does all of these things. That's really useful and it's good to know in the consultation. But when we've got 1.7 seconds to capture their attention, I guess, unless they're like nerds or they're not really getting it, most people will be scrolling past. Great, we're not interested. So we want to sell the sizzle, not the steak. We want to sell the transformation and not the treatment. And of course, we want to educate potential clients, but first we want to hook them in so that they book an appointment with you. So when you're beginning, just choose one treatment that you want to promote. If you try and advertise all of your treatments in one advert, it's just going to confuse them, and that leads to analysis paralysis. So say you've got laser hair removal, hydrofacial, you've got dermablading, you've got all of these different things. That's going to be a different customer avatar per treatment, which means you're going to be doing a shotgun approach where you're targeting everyone in a 20-kilometer radius rather than being really specific. Oh, great, we're going to advertise laser hair removal. Our dream clients are ladies aged 25 to 35. They're in this job, they're in these postcodes. That allows you to cut through the noise. So we want to be specific and clear on the treatment that you want to promote and the transformation that it brings. Now, on the advert, make sure you're using real images and videos of the treatment in action. So this works way better than stock images where you can tell immediately, oh, it's a stock image, and people scroll past. We see the best performing adverts are not necessarily professional video shoots, all of these bits. It's people taking photos on their iPhone, either a video or a photo of the treatment in action, and that performs best. We see it again and again. So we give all of our clients a script, record this, use your phone, use this lighting, press these buttons, and that tends to outperform the majority of professional or stock images. So don't be discouraged if you're running adverts and you've got kind of this ideal, we need it to be perfect, we need all of these things. It's all about imperfect action, which is taking action even if you're not fully confident. Obviously, it has to be professional. You want it to represent your brand in the right way, but we want to make sure we're not overcomplicating things and we're getting things out there so we can get data back and ensure we're getting patients coming through. So another thing, which will be another video, is making sure we're following Meta and Facebook's guidelines on the wording and the images that you can use to make sure your adverts are not banned. So we can't use before and afters. We can't use gory images, any blood, any needles. You've got to make sure, depending on where you are in the world, you've got to make sure you're following the ASA, CAP, HIPAA compliance, all of these bits. And you may be saying, oh, our competitors running all of these ads, we can do it too. It doesn't mean that if they're doing it, you can do it as well, right? We want to make sure we're doing our marketing ethically, but we're thinking about the long-term view of our brand. These clinics doing all these dodgy offers, they're cutting through noise, they're going to be gone in a few years. We're looking for longevity with our marketing. So we're following the guidelines, we're doing it in the right way, so we can actually make sure our marketing is performing in the next 20, 30 years. We want to make sure we're doing it right to protect your brand and to protect your integrity that you've worked really hard for. Another bit is making sure you're using a landing page. So not using a dedicated landing page is a massive, massive problem with marketing. So when you're running ads, the goal is typically, again, to convert them into paying clients or patients. So what people do, and the clinic owners are like, great, I spent £10,000, $10,000 on my website, therefore it must be good, and we're going to send traffic to our website. The problem is, typically the results it yields are very low. And the reason here is your website has lots of buttons, menus, services, pop-up saying join our newsletter. It can be really overwhelming and lead to analysis paralysis. Whereas when we're marketing, our goal is to make it really easy to collect the customer's information, to take a deposit or a payment. And with a normal website, it's not optimized to achieve this. So we want to introduce something called a landing page. And this is a one-page website. It can look like your website. It can have your brand. It can have your logo. And I will put below an example of a landing page that we use again and again that converts very highly, absolutely free. Click the link below. But what this is one goal in mind, which is to convert cold inquiries into hot prospects who want to book a treatment. So it's overcoming objections. So on this landing page, we want to make sure we're qualifying them. We want to make sure it's mobile optimized, and we want to make sure that the opt-in button is above the fold. So there's loads of different things which we want to make sure. Again, I can put a checklist below of the top 10 things we want on our landing page. But the main thing to note here is sending traffic to your website isn't going to get the best results. We want a dedicated landing page which educates them, raises the awareness, raises their pain points, and overcomes the objections that they may have about the treatment. This is really important when it comes to treatments that are above $1,000, £1,000, where price can be an objection. We want to make sure the treatment seems so valuable, and we can say, great, you've got this pain point. We want to relate directly to their pain points. But if you have this treatment, we can take you from point A to point B, and I will put below an example of a landing page that we use again and again that converts very highly, absolutely free. And when you do that, people will naturally want to book in with you. So the landing page is all about overcoming objections, educating them, collecting their information so they book right in. And the best landing page layout we see is having your logo at the top, then a clear headline explaining your offer. And you want this headline to match whatever you're saying on your advert. So if you're saying one offer on your advert and you send them to this landing page and it's a different offer, there's going to be some dissonance there and people are going to bounce and not going to convert, and it's going to be a waste of your marketing budgets. So make sure your headline explains your offer well. Then we want a short paragraph explaining that offer. So talk about the benefits, sell the transformation, not the treatment. Then we want an image of that treatment in action. So it could be someone getting their laser hair removal on their armpits. It could be whatever the treatment is. We just want to show a real life image from your clinic with the branding so they know and they can relate to, oh, this image is from this clinic or Medspa. And then we want a large button which says opt in, book my consultation, claim my treatment voucher, whatever the offer is. And we want to collect name, email, and number at a minimum. So typically when we're working with treatments that are above $500, £500, we have 6 or 7 qualifying questions to make sure they're a good fit. There's no contraindications. They actually understand they need a course of treatments or multiple sessions of that treatment for maximum results, and other questions that work really well. But that button typically at a bare minimum is we want to collect name, email, phone number. And if you just include these 5 bits on your landing page, you will see better results than sending someone to your website homepage or your treatment page on your site. And we see it again and again. So make sure you are using a landing page, you understand the importance of it, and yeah, it will really, really help your marketing. And the final thing, the most common mistake, is having no follow-up strategy. So there's no point getting all of these bits perfect, your marketing great, if when you get inquiries and leads, there's no strategy on your back end to talk to them, educate them, overcome objections, and convert them into bookings. So of course, we can send people to an online booking page. We can send them to a calendar to book a phone call with you. But there'll be a lot of people who opt in, they're really interested, they get excited, and they don't reach out to you for whatever reason. We want to make sure we've got a strategy on the back end to talk to them, educate them, overcome objections, and convert them into bookings. So we want to make sure we've got that. If you don't have a strategy in place for your follow-up, you're going to be losing new clients every single day. And honestly, you might as well pause your advertising until you have the back end sorted. So we want to delegate a member of the team for all of the inquiries, give them a sales script, and ensure they understand the end goal. So with your team, if it's you following up, if it's your front of house, make sure they understand the customer journey. So a customer sees a Facebook ad, they click on this link, it goes to this landing page, and they go through this process. So when you are phoning them and you're speaking to them, you understand, oh, you're from here. Again, inquiries from paid ads are in a way different bracket compared to referrals in regards to warmness. Typically, if they've just seen you on a meta ad, they don't know, like, or trust you yet. The key thing is yet. We want to warm them up with our back-end follow-up and systems and AI and automations. But don't approach these leads the same way you would approach a referral or a warm lead, as that's when there's dissonance and you're like, these leads are terrible quality, it's not working. They just need more hand-holding. You need to understand them a little bit more and take it a little bit slower, especially if they haven't actually visited a clinic before. So the solution is to make sure you can call inquiries within 5 minutes of them coming through. So as crazy as that sounds, calling leads within 5 minutes is 21 times more effective. How crazy, that's just a crazy stat, than calling them after 30 minutes. So the longer it takes you to phone the inquiries, actually pick up the phone, the less chance it is you're going to convert them. So when you hear this stat, and you can test that out for yourself, that shows the importance of following up and making sure your team are fully on board as well to convert these inquiries. Now, if you are a solo practitioner, nurse, doctor, or you just haven't got a call center or a team, it's going to be pretty impossible to call these leads within 5 minutes. I get that. It's not your full-time job to just be calling leads all the time. There are ways which you can use AI, which will be a separate video where I'll walk you through our 5-step strategy for AI, which can contact leads, call them, book them in without you lifting a finger, which is pretty crazy how AI is doing it these days. So I will show that in a separate video. But if you've qualified these inquiries before they get to you, again, you've got to make sure you are qualifying them. You already know that they're local, they have disposable income, they're a good fit for the treatment you're advertising. And all you have to do now is be persistent in following up with these inquiries. Again, persistence is key. Remember, you've got the solution to their problem and they've requested a call. So make sure you're being diligent with the follow-up, you're going after them, you're educating them, not even in a salesy way following up with them, but just reaching out saying, are you still interested in solving your rosacea or your acne? Here's some before and afters, here's some case studies of what we've done. We'd love to help you. And again, remember, you are selling that transformation, not the treatment. So don't get caught up in the technicalities. Focus on pushing them for that consultation. And then once they're in that consult, you can talk about all of the techie stuff and go a little bit deeper. So these are the 4 main things we see clinics making again and again, which means their marketing isn't performing at an optimal level. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. If you'd like us to implement all of these bits for your clinic, take full control of your marketing so you can focus on doing what you do best while our team handle all of the paid advertising to ensure a consistent stream of high quality patients, click the link below, book a call with our team. We'll hop on a half-an-hour call, map out a strategy from A to Z to see where you are, where you want to go, and if we can help you.